All right, so let's get back to some politics. Fauci testified this week. I'm sure y'all know about that. He got what the hell? Oh, he made up 6 foot distancing wasn't based in science and all this other stuff. Michael's favorite politician, Marjorie Taylor Greene, called him Mr. Fauci over and over. And the Democrats got really pissy and offended by that. And, there's this one guy, a lot of videos show up on Twitter, on X, social media, whatever, Instagram. When stuff like this happens, somebody goes to the Hill and, Republicans or Democrats or whatever, they really grill him hard. And there's this, Dr. McCormick, do you know where he's from?
It sounds like, well, I would guess. He's from.
Can I ask a question while we're figuring this out?
Of course you can.
Were Democrats mad because they misgendered Fauci or because they didn't call him doctor?
Because they didn't call him doctor, called him Mr. It was just Marjorie Taylor Greene, as far as I know.
Dr. McCormick is from the 6th congressional district of Georgia, and he looks just like your cookie cutter Republican candidate from Georgia.
So just
only politicians, only bloggers, only conspiracy theorists are disagreeing with you. I want to point out that I'm probably the only member of Congress that actually treated patients during the pandemic from the very beginning, the very end of the pandemic, during night shifts in the ER. Thousands of patients during that time. And in 2020, my medical license was threatened because I disagreed with bureaucrats. Literally taken off the internet as a person who is treating patients with leading edge technologies, developing theories, but doing my very best, but being censored by the United States government for the first time, stepping in and taking the place of medical professionals as the expert in healthcare. Any dissent surrounding COVID-19 treatments, mask mandates, and any public policy surrounding the pandemic was immediately labeled as anti-science.
And whatever, it goes on like that. We're not going to waste a whole bunch of time listening to it's like a 6-minute clip or 5 minutes, because they only have 5 minutes to talk, because that's all you need is 5 minutes to talk to people. And especially when they don't even actually have to answer your questions, they can just kind of fucking say whatever the hell they want. So all this is really cool, right? They did this and really owned Dr. Fauci, right, guys?
Right.
Michael, do you think they owned him?
Did you watch it?
Did I watch what?
No, I thought he did a super effective job of spinning the whole thing. If you watched or listened to it, I listened to part of it in the car. Fauci and the Democrats.
You think if Fauci spinned it well? Okay.
They did an effective job of spinning it. They were so desperate that he pulled out the waterworks.
Oh yeah, he did, because people threatened it.
Yeah, they made. And here's what I felt when he started crying. How dare you? You have the audacity to cry up there. Oh, poor Fauci. Oh, I don't feel bad for him at all. He lied about everything. Everything.
Yep.
He lied about everything. Mass, social distancing, natural immunity, where the freaking thing came from, the vaccine's efficacy, everything. He lied about it all. And me, guy with a backwards hat and a cell phone, got it all right. How? How is that possible? And then he sits up there and he's like, oh, all these people are coming after me. Well, maybe you shouldn't have lied to us.
Well, it's not just lying, right? It's what he lied about and the consequences of those lies and things that he, if he just lies and, that's all right. Politicians lie. And that's, it's just sort of par for the course.
He's not a politician.
I know. What I'm saying is he lied about things that destroyed people's lives.
Yeah.
People, they couldn't go to work. They couldn't see their grandmas in the hospital. And they, kids were wearing masks at swim meets, swimming in pools, fucking absolute nightmares, right? And the damage that was done from those lies. That's
yeah. It made me mad watching him.
You should be mad. Everyone should be mad. Yeah. And I think it's right that McCormick and Marjorie Taylor Greene and all of them were very mad. I think that's really cool to watch. But what the fuck's going to happen?
Nothing.
Exactly. And that's why I have this background. Oops, all pain, because who gives a fuck? Nothing's going to happen, and that's just what we're here for. Just got to live through the pain.
And that's why I don't really care. It's not very it's enraging, but I just don't have any feelings about it one way or the other because nothing's going to happen.
We just said it's enraging. That's a feeling.
That is a feeling.
Enraging like mentally, but not enough for me to like actually get upset and do anything, because nothing's going to happen. Like nothing is going to happen. Congress is going to do nothing. They're only doing this because then they can clip it out and put it in their fundraising emails. I mean, yes, are they upset about it? Sure, but they know that they can benefit from it. That's the only benefit that's going to come out of these things, is that they're going to raise money from it and get reelected. Nothing's actually going to happen. And if next week the bird flu was, we started to recognize that it was like taking over the state of New Jersey, we would do the same thing all over again. Not us individually. Like I think people would resist more, but our governments would do the same thing all over again.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. And you're right about they're only doing it to fundraise. We need to start putting these people in jail. I mean, I don't really know what the other explanation is. I went back. So I spoke to the Atlantic journalist Derek Thompson during the pandemic, and I went back and looked at my answers to his questions because I asked him to email them to me. Mm-hmm. He took one thing I said that was like pretty ridiculous and he put it in the article, but like everything I said was right in 2020. How? Like, this is what I don't get. And I think this is what Dave Smith said too about Cuomo. It's not a coincidence that some people who are challenging the official narrative are getting everything right. Everything. I'm not a doctor. It's just obvious. It's obvious that natural immunity is strong. That's obvious. It's obvious that masks don't work. The first time I saw somebody vape with a mask on, I was like, okay, doesn't work. Why? I don't know. I'm obviously a little fired up about this, but like there's something structurally wrong when the institutions that are supposed to be protecting the public and public health are getting everything wrong, and they're about to get the vaccine wrong, because there was an article in the UK talking about excess deaths, and oh boy, maybe it was the vaccine. Yeah, they're about to get that wrong too. And that these conspiracy theorists or just regular people who are looking at information are getting everything right. Ukraine war. It's just
we don't have to disclose here. But I find it so interesting that no one ever asks about if you're vaccinated anymore. If there was like a period of time where like you could not go anywhere without being asked, and you had to sometimes show a vaccination card and this and that and the other, and it's crazy that no one has ever brought that up. And the past year, year and a half, 2 years, no one's asked me if I've been vaccinated.
No.
Were you vaccinated?
No.
I don't believe
Brad is on booster 6.
I would never.
Booster 6.
I thought about it, but I ended up not doing it.
Yeah.
No, because I said to him at the time, I said to Derek Thompson at the time, I'm relatively young. I take very good care of myself. I supplement vitamin D, and I have already got the virus, so I do not need the vaccine. And he pushed back.
Yeah, Michael gets that vitamin D on the reg.
I just got it.
Skin cancer.
I had a friend who works at a hospital who gave me a card, and I just filled it out because I was in New York for a period, and I had to go places, and I couldn't get in anywhere without one. But no, I'm glad I didn't get it, because look at me now. I'm fine, and it's nice outside, and I don't have to worry about anything. I just still don't like people getting too close, but that's not because of COVID. That's just because like we learned that distance is like not a bad thing. So like stay a couple feet away. It's great.
Well, speaking of all of this and public health crises and the fear mongering, Michael, everything you said is correct. And it's really interesting. I think that it goes back to, I think I've said this on the show before. If you just operate with the first principle of the government is always lying to you, then you're probably going to do better than if you didn't. Right. And I know that, what are you laughing about?
No, I mean, it's right.
I know.
I question everything they say. And
you should.
I have a good batting average.
Always assume they're lying. They didn't start telling the truth today or with COVID, right? They've always lied. Dr. Deborah Birx, we remember her, right? Former Trump White House coronavirus response coordinator, wants to test millions of cows in the U.S. weekly and test dairy workers for asymptomatic bird flu cases.
Where is she?
Where is she?
Like, what's she doing now?
What is she doing? Well, she's on, what is this? CNN. Dr. Deborah Birx.
We're not testing to really see how many people have been exposed and got asymptomatically infected. We should be testing every cow weekly. You can do pooled PCR. You have the technology. The great thing about America is we're incredibly innovative, and we have the ability to have these breakthroughs. We could be pool testing
I'm not going to keep running that because the sound is really low, and I think people listening are probably going to get pissed off because they have to turn up their volume and then turn it down once I start talking. But I think, talking about PCR tests, got to test all those asymptomatic people. It's all just very familiar. PCR tests, right, Michael? You love those.
They don't work.
What? No. Stop it.
Oh my gosh.
I think what's the old saying? You could test a ham sandwich with a PCR test and get a positive.
Like that.
You could indict a ham sandwich. That's what it's right for the grand jury.
I just Googled Deborah Burks. I didn't. I don't know why it's not relevant at all. But
Does she have an OnlyFans?
Okay, I'm not gonna.
I'd pay that $8 a month.
Woo! Kellyanne Conway's daughter got one. That was big news this week.
Was it?
So the point of bringing up this story is that they're preparing for another thing, or just testing the waters, or what's your?
Yeah, because of bird flu cases, and every time they talk about somebody, I think someone in, I want to say Harris County, to be honest, that could not be right, but I think it was Harris County.
It was Harris County. We had the first case of West Nile this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I did see the case you're talking about. It wasn't Harris County. I can't remember where it was.
Somebody got bird flu and died. So now we got to lock it down. Right?
Question. Would you guys go back to okay, so it's Austin Public Health finds avian flu in wastewater. So thank you. It's you guys. Would you guys go back to in hindsight, wasn't the lockdown fun? Like being inside, not being forced to go anywhere, like just being able to chill all day, every day. In hindsight, wasn't it fun? Like
if you ignore all of the secondary and second and third order effects, yeah, okay. I mean, I see your point. Like the stress kind of goes down a little bit. You don't have a lot of, social engagements, perhaps.
For 2 months, it was fun.
I wish I could have started a new business or something.
I don't know. I was like trying to go to concerts and stuff. I got COVID, I think, at a concert in October of 2020. I went to a Gary Clark concert in this small venue in Austin called Anton's. It was like Antone's. And the band had COVID. They announced afterwards because they canceled the show the neek day, and then I got it. So
I thought you meant they announced at the end of the set.
The next day they canceled the show, and then I got it a week later. So
I went to high school with Gary Clark Jr.
I don't know.
Pretty cool.
How do you not? What? Do I know him? No. Yeah. I mean, in high school, we would have known each other, known each other's names, and maybe a little head nod in the hallway. But if we saw each other today, I would know. I might recognize him. I don't know. He would definitely recognize me.
Gary Clark is our generation's Jimi Hendrix.
I see. Apparently.
Is he? That sounds a little bit hyperbolic.
It is, but he's sick on the guitar, and he's black.
Huh?
And
he's black. So that's okay. How does that make? Huh? What?
Nothing.
Okay, calm down. God,
listen, you should check him out, Charles. He's good.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar. I'll check him out though. Gary Clark Jr. Austin, Texas.
Yep.